Hello, and welcome to our live talk on the future of project management and planning in construction. My name is Sarah Kearns. I'm the Online Marketing Officer here at ATU, and I'll be your host for this live talk. So today I'm joined by Dr. David Collery, Lecturer and Programme Chair of the Level 9 Masters in Project Management at ATU. Welcome, David.
Welcome.
I'm also joined by Irene Hayden, Lecturer in the Department of Building and Civil Engineering at ATU. Welcome, Irene.
Hiya.
Then we're also joining us as well as Anthony McElwee, Assistant Lecturer in Construction Management at ATU. Welcome, Anthony.
Thanks.
And Caroline Corrigan, Senior Engineer in Transportation Operations at Meath County Council and graduate from ATU.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're going to be chatting about some of the upskilling and retraining opportunities available at ATU for those working in construction engineering sector in Ireland. So this is a constantly evolving sector, and particularly in the areas of project management, planning and building regs. So just some housekeeping before we get started. We're not taking any questions during this talk. However, if you want to head over to the live Q&A section of our virtual open evening platform, you can submit any questions there and our team will get back to you. So David, we'll come to you first if that's okay. Can you chat to us about any advancements in technology and project management and planning, and what are you seeing from an industry perspective?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I suppose that the two biggest things that we've got feedback from industry and how industry is actually dealing with it is how we deal with information and data. But that's fallen on the two main topics would be kind of the building information modeling, or in short, BIM, and how the construction industry are actually using probably gaming technology to advance, be more productive, and try to have less problems on site when they go to construct them, so they can make sure everything fits together, maybe in a 3D world at design stage before they actually go out to actually building it, and then how that information is then passed over to the end user or the client who owns the asset, and making sure that they can actually manage the asset in, I suppose, the most economic manner for their own use. So that would link us into kind of two main items. So we have building information, and also a lot of interest coming in to know on about what lean is, and using some of the techniques from lean manufacturing into construction to kind of increase productivity and reduce waste in the construction industry. And we've seen a lot of uptake because we have two modules in our masters in project management and the electives, and one is building information modeling and the other one is lean construction. And a lot of students actually selecting them, and actually seem to we get a lot of positive feedback that one, they might have known about it, but they really find the subjects very interesting. And there seems to be quite a good uptake in the construction industry looking at that and how we can actually, I suppose, be more effective and more productive and reducing waste, and especially in the environment at the moment when everything is trying to be more sustainable. And what we're using is key materials, and we want to use them as best as we can. So they're the kind of areas I can see project management and planning being very much more more emphasis being put on it.
Oh, brilliant. Your chat there about the modules actually in the Masters of Project Management is very appropriate for my next question. So can you give us an overview of the Level 9 Masters in Project Management at ATU, and just the exit awards and maybe just the modules as well?
Yeah, so we as the often we actually have, it's a general project management. So it's not just focused on the construction industry, but within that, there's a number of mandatory modules like project planning, project implementation that you must do just for fundamentals of project management. But we also have a lot of elective modules that you can pick from different areas, and we typically have three kind of unique streams that have kind of generated. So one's what we'd call general project management. Second one is construction-based modules about construction project management, and the third one would be IT project management. And I suppose from this talk we're looking at more of the construction-based modules. So a lot of them would be around contract law, procurement, building information and modeling, and also lean construction, and actually how from a project manager, how that can actually be, how you can use this information and how it fits back into actually being a project manager.
Brilliant. I think it's quite interesting as well with this level 9, David, is that there's loads of kind of certificates, level 9 certificates that feed into the masters as well.
Yeah, that's right. So out of the overall structure we have a lot of different awards. So you have the if you don't complete the full MSc in project management, you can exit with a diploma in project management. But also you can bank and build up to it. So we have a certificate in project management, which is 3 modules. We have a certificate in BIM and lean construction management, which is 5 modules. And then we have a certificate in construction law, procurement and finance, which is 3 modules. And then another often a certificate in strategic construction and management. So we find lots of students come back and they might do one course and they do 3 modules, and then they find that they can bank and have them and they're exempt from doing the modules again, and then they can do maybe another small certificate online, and then they realize it's actually half a master's done already, so they can bank and actually progress that way. So a lot of students find that very useful to kind of get the foot back into actually online learning and doing it in the evenings as well, and that's kind of how that actually works.
The flexibility there, yeah. You kind of touched on it there as well, how project management is appropriate to lots of different industries, but who might be interested in this course, the Level 9 Masters in Project Management?
Yeah, what we're finding, there's lots of people, I suppose, as you said, projects are done within every industry, and the MSc themselves is actually in project management is a generic project manager. So we have students from IT backgrounds, we have students from actually just working in local authorities. There mightn't actually be construction orientated, but are doing projects on a daily, weekly basis. And then we find there's lots of people from pharmaceutical industries coming in who do driving projects as well. So they get the opportunity, and we have a lot of students from the construction-based upskilling to have a better understanding of how a lot of students know how projects work, but it's actually the language and terminology that's used that actually sometimes can catch them out, or maybe that they mightn't understand it, but once it's explained to them, that they know it already. So we have a whole range of students from local authorities, pharmaceuticals, IT, and the construction, from design consultants and contractors actually involved in this program, and that's really beneficial because you get a lot of feedback, cross-pollination from different students with different ideas and from different backgrounds, and that's really kind of what I find it's not just one cohort of students, it's a whole mixture, and great ideas come from a whole range of them.
Oh, brilliant. So then, can you give us an overview of the time commitment that students might need to dedicate to this course, to like online part-time learning?
Oh yeah, thanks, Sarah. So the way the structure of the program is set up, that the course is set up, is that you do 3 subjects or modules per semester. So a semester from September to Christmas. So you have 3 subjects, and in the evenings from either 6 to 10. And they typically are now and 10 minutes long as a live lecture. And them lectures are fully recorded. So some students just can't make this a Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And they just can come back and actually watch the recordings themselves. So that's ideally, if you're on the live lecture, you have the opportunity to ask questions. If you're not, you can watch the recordings back, and you can also use it for revision and just making sure you got the right understanding of it. So that's about 3.5 hours of live lectures per semester. And typically you'd have at least 2 to 3 hours of per subject of what we call self-directive learning, but that would be like reading around the area, doing your courseworks, doing your study for the exams. So typically, but that does depend on how focused the student is when they sit down to actually go doing that work. But that's what we typically expect for that level 9. So, and that's what students kind of fed back. So talking about probably 10-12 hours a week extra all the way through for the masters.
Brilliant. And I know that's really flexible then for people like, being able to watch back lectures for people who are working full time. And I know, Caroline, you're a graduate from this master's, so you'll give us a real life example very soon. But then, Irene, we might come to you next if that's okay. So within project management and planning, so adhering to building regs is obviously extremely important in delivering successful projects for clients. So can you expand on this, Irene, please?
Yeah, thanks very much, Sarah. I would say absolutely within project management and planning, the building regulations, building control regulations, the acts, all the legislation relating to the built environment, including planning and health and safety, they are central to compliance and competence in the Irish construction industry.
Brilliant. So then if anyone's working within the construction industry, Irene, and they feel that they're underskilled or they need to retrain in building regs, can you give us an overview of the courses offered at ATU that might be able to kind of bridge this gap of the skills deficit?
Yeah, sure. We offer an MSc in Built Environment Regulation at the ATU Galway City campus. It's delivered as a blended programme, and we had our first cohort starting in September 2022. We're the first kind of, I suppose, higher education institution in the country to run this sort of programme. Within the programme itself, there's a pathway that is part-time and a pathway that is full-time, so it might suit different people for different working requirements. We also have, just like David has, actually very similar kind of setup with lesser awards embedded in it, and they can be built up in incremental levels or be taken as exit awards at any point in time. So there would be, including the Masters in Built Environment Regulation, within that there's a postgraduate diploma and a certificate in Built Environment Regulation, as well as two smaller minor awards and certificates. One's called the Certificate in Fire Safety, which has proved to be very, very popular this last academic year, and the Certificate in Energy Conservation and Environmental Services.
Brilliant. I think the exit awards are really good and they're really flexible for people, especially if they're working full time.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting kind of profile we've got through, really. And it does seem to suit the working population, people who are in industry for quite a while and who want to upskill or kind of do that extra training, you know, because they're really looking at a part-time route is 6 hours a week online, just like David as well, in the evenings to suit working cohorts. The lectures this semester were between 5 and 8 o'clock in the evening, 2 evenings a week. And then there is one on-campus day per semester on a Saturday. We've scheduled that for each module, just to go through troubleshooting and project work and tutorials, you know, sort of interviews, kind of getting to meet each other and getting to kind of talk to your lecturers as well. And the feedback we got on that blended day it's actually been really positive. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, so it's good to have kind of the online and blended option for people. So it kind of suits their study way and how they prefer to learn as well. So who would be interested in studying the suite of built environment courses like job roles, all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So we've got a range of people interested. They are coming from multidisciplinary areas. We actually have engineers, architects, architecture technologists, building surveyors, construction managers, people who are leaders in their field as well and are running their own businesses. They're all actually on the programme, and they're actually there to upskill and train to get a master's level programme, either a minor or a major award. They might be wanting to do it to progress in their career paths, to actually get promotion in their line of work. There are people from local authority, from their own private businesses for practice and consultation areas, you know, and architecture practices, and clerks. We've good few clerks of works actually. We also have, I'm delighted to see a few ATU graduates coming through actually want to do a master's, and they want to do kind of, you know, full-time or part-time, and they might be straight out of college from the previous year, or they may have been working in industry for between 1 and 3 years, and they are looking to upskill and do this now to kind of get to the next step on the rung that they're looking for, whether it's chartership in their professional body or their equivalent, you know, in terms of their employability and their opportunities to diversify their skill set.
Brilliant. So I know there's probably loads, but can you give us a really top line overview of the skills that students can expect to gain from these courses?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose this is kind of repeated on our web pages as well. But what it does is, and it's really working very well in this aspect, there's a lot of peer-to-peer learning and a lot of, you know, influential, we get guest speakers in who are industry experts in their areas. And that has been actually really been very rich rewards, benefit from that. So what I feel our students are getting is advanced experience, knowledge and training to fulfill, at least in part, the very onerous and challenging roles that we all undertake in the built environment under the guise of the broad regulations required in the Irish construction industry.
Okay. So are there any industry accreditations or funding opportunities, Irene, as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, first of all, I suppose in terms of accreditation, our master's programme is accredited with CAPE, and they're the Chartered Institute of Building Association, of Building Engineers. We're also in the middle of going through a second accreditation process. So we'll update our websites when we know the ins and outs of that. Furthermore, yes, we're very happy to say that we're aligned with the DASB programme. So that's Digital Academy, a Sustainable Built Environment. And with that, we have until 2024 for a very nice DASB student fund, which is basically reducing the fees down to a very small amount for all of the 5 different programs I mentioned there. So it's a brilliant opportunity if someone were interested in upskilling and getting 11.9, particularly this year in September 2023, to avail of the maximum amount of that support funding. It would be well worthwhile doing a little bit of probing and seeing where you can go with that. Another thing as well, I suppose, not to deter people, the entry requirements are, the standard ones for a master's program, but we have actually managed to get a good number of people who are working in industry who have maybe 10 years work experience and they have a level 7. We've been able to recognise their prior learning, experiential learning, and be able to offer them places last September and again in January just gone.
Oh, brilliant. That's through RPL, is it, Irene? Yeah.
RPL, brilliant. That's right.
Yeah, that's great. We actually have a section on RPL on this virtual event platform as well, if anyone wants to read more into it. Right. So thanks, Irene. That was brilliant. Anthony, we'll come to you next if that's okay. So construction contracts management is closely linked to project management. So can you tell us a little bit more how construction contracts management is crucial for project management?
Yeah, so generally a project manager needs a defined scope and effective communication to safety quality guidelines, program payment terms, dispute guidelines and other items such as that, so they can do their job efficiently and effectively. So the contracts, the documents utilise to set out and govern these items. Mm-hmm. So the project team have a predetermined guidance available. So contracts management is the process of managing and administering contracts to ensure that the parties involved fulfill their contractual obligations, and it involves setting out a set of processes that start from the initial agreement between the parties and ends up with the final delivery of the project. And the aim of any project is really to deliver a top quality product on time and within a budget. Then parameters are agreed at tender stage, and then managing the contract is crucial for successful project management, as it helps to ensure that all parties involved in the construction project adhere to the terms that have been set out in that contract, including the contractors, the subcontractors, suppliers, and the client. And by managing the contracts effectively, the project team can ensure that the project's completed within those parameters, the time, cost, quality that are agreed at the tender stage.
Okay, brilliant. And if someone wanted to upskill or retrain, we do offer a Bachelor of Science Honours in Construction Contracts Management. Can you tell us a little bit more about that course?
Yeah, so it's a 1-year level 8 honours degree programme, and it's aimed at people, as you said there, to upskill for a career in the construction industry. So similar to the other modules discussed, it's online. Mm-hmm. It runs over 4 10-week periods and 2 evenings a week. For 3 hours each session. And it's designed to provide the students with that knowledge and skills that they need to manage construction contracts effectively. And so some of the key learnings that would focus on is the management methodologies and techniques, such as scheduling, budgeting, risk management, project staffing, measuring project performance. And then additional to that, students gain an understanding of the commercial elements of the contract. So looking and analysing bills of quantities, analysing the cost performance, which involves managing the budgets, as well as looking at the legal aspects and the law side of the contracts.
Brilliant. And so who might be interested in this course? Like what kind of job role would you have to have?
Really and truly, it's individuals who generally might be interested in the construction contracts management course. Might be people who have completed a civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, or quantity surveying, or other degrees such as that, and are interested then in pursuing a more managerial role. So generally after graduating, your next step is to try and learn the trade and eventually look at managing teams or projects. And then, looking at this type of course really helps with that. But additionally, to that, individuals who are working in the construction industry and might not necessarily have a degree to their name, this is also something they can take that experience and then potentially be permitted into this course to help them broaden their knowledge and skills and move into that managerial role as well. Brilliant.
So RPL, people can apply for RPL for this course as
exactly.
Well. Great. Yeah. A lot of the courses actually, flexible courses at ATU, you can avail of RPL, so it is brilliant now in fairness. Mm-hmm. So what can students expect to gain from this course?
So, they can expect to do a lot of hands-on assessments that revolve around actual real-life projects that are built not just in Ireland but across Europe as well. the students they'll graduate with the skills needed to really take that next step in their career and move into management, where they can begin to, to start looking at make their own impact or have their own stamp on the construction industry, and also pursue, a master's or further education if they wish after that. And it's, it's really a good springboard for anyone in the construction industry that's, really interested in forging their career path and moving on within that set path.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Always,
so last but not least, we will come to you, Caroline, if that's okay. So you were a graduate from ATU and you studied the Level 9 Masters in Project Management. So can you tell us why you chose this course?
For me, really, it was a flexibility. So I work full time. I spend about 2 hours a day in traffic getting to and from work. And I have 2 children that need to be driven to football and everything else. So really, it was the flexibility. So I could work around it. And as David said, the lectures are pre-recorded. So if I couldn't make it, I could catch up at the weekend. So it really gave me that flexibility. It's still hard work, absolutely. But it just means you can work it around all the other things that's going on in your life. So it's highly achievable.
Yeah. And can you tell me then from your job point of view, why did you choose to do this master's? Was it something that you wanted to gain more skills in, or why did you pick it?
Yeah, I suppose I always had an interest in project management and maybe leadership as well in particular. So at that stage I was working in climate action. I've since got promotion back, I suppose, really into the full-time engineering as a senior engineer. So I think certainly helped when it came to the promotion perspectives that I had completed that course, but maybe the fact that I'd done it part-time, it kind of showed that you're willing to commit to something and, put the work into it. So that was it really.
Okay. And so what do you think you gained by taking the course, Caroline?
Well, probably very good time management skills.
I've been able to balance a whole lot of things.
Everything. It just, even I suppose the other students who are in a similar position to myself, some from private industry and contracting and consultancy and everything. So really to kind of share the experiences as well and kind of get that networking was good also.
Brilliant. And then in terms of what you learned through your modules, were you able to apply that to your role then?
Yeah, absolutely. I use them kind of on a regular basis. Try to remember the bits and pieces, but yeah, certainly it is very, what you're learning you can actually apply to different projects at different levels as well, whether it be kind of something very small or something big. So at the moment we're trying to deliver this was the annual roadworks program, so certainly it comes in there because we have to spend our budgets within a certain time frame. So I make sure obviously we get value for money and quality as well. So I'm really applying it at the moment and trying to deliver that.
Brilliant. So you would probably do a lot of projects then from start to finish, Caroline. So the master's probably helped you loads with that and kind of managing budgets, time, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And I think it probably fosters kind of a thinking kind of long term as well, not just looking at the outputs, but the outcomes, looking at both together. Mm-hmm. And that kind of longer term. And we kind of touched off sustainability as well. So that's really important going forward. So it does bring that thinking into it. Things as well, David mentioned lean thinking and BIM. That's something we're trying to maybe start looking at here to see what we can do, but it does really foster that long-term thinking and not just from beginning to end but beyond again, and kind of what happens when the project is finished or they reach end of use, end of life. So it does I think definitely foster that strategic and long-term thinking.
Great. And then so obviously we chatted about how much of a commitment it was, but was there a really big sense of achievement whenever you graduated and you finished the course?
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting the thesis finished was, I suppose, the big milestone. It was slightly different, obviously, from the exams because you knew kind of the dates of the exam. It was more short term. Where this was kind of, you really have to manage your time carefully over that 9 months getting it done, and doing all your research. And I did surveys and whatnot. So yeah, there was quite a bit of work in that. But yeah, it was a great achievement to actually have it finished and to actually hit that save button for the last time on the Word document was great.
Yeah,
sure. But it was really, I did find it very interesting, and I actually probably through my network got to kind of maybe get to know people a bit better in asking them to help me with things like surveys. So, but yeah, it is a great sense of achievement to have it finished, and actually the 3 years fly, I did it over 3 years. It goes really, really fast. Yeah.
So any advice or recommendations for someone considering doing an online part-time course or a blended course?
Yeah, I'd say do your research. Find, as I know there's lots of different subjects you can do. Find the ones that suit you best. And I suppose I would also kind of go for the ones that you have the interest in and that may, I suppose, be useful in your career going forward. But certainly just do it. It is very achievable, and you can break it down instead into certain diplomas. So it's not, you're not looking at the whole thing in one thing. You can do it piecemeal. And yeah, I'd say definitely do it. It is very achievable with the part-time and the fact that everything's recorded, and you can work it around your own schedule.
And thank you so much, Caroline. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. So thank you, David, Irene, Anthony, and Caroline for being our panelists this evening. There was lots of really good information shared there. So if you'd like to watch back, we'll upload a video of this to our live talk virtual evening platform. You can watch it back there. So if you're interested in doing a course from our civil engineering, construction, or built environment area, please visit our course search section on our virtual open evening platform. You can view all our courses there and links to the program web pages, and also information on how to apply. So if you've any questions regarding this talk, please head over to our live Q&A section, and our team will be available to answer your questions until 9 p.m. this evening. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, guys. That was brilliant.